Boker Tov. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Generally, we wait a few minutes for others to join us, but we have a full agenda. As you know, this is a 1-hour Zoom, and we have at least 1 hour of business to accomplish. But I want to begin by saying Bruchim Abayim, welcome to everybody, both our regulars on the Zoom program that we've been having every other Sunday, as well as many of our parents who are joining us, and we're thrilled that you can be with us this morning. I'm going to introduce to you Dr. Rachel Ravid, who is a director of Galilee Dreamers, working out of her office at Oranim, very closely with the International School at Oranim College. And she in turn will introduce to you the International Advisory Board of the Galilee Dreamers. Boker Tov, Rachel.
Boker Tov, and I'm very happy to introduce today's leading spirit, and our very own Roberta. And Roberta is going to host and lead the conversation between the parents themselves and between the parents and ourselves. We have the advisory board here. We have Dr. Muli Peleg, who is the head of the international school. We have Dr. Desmond Kaplan, yay, from Baltimore. And we have Raymond from South Africa. And that's it, I think, and Roberta, of course. So, we hope that more teachers would join us, but, two of our teachers are in a bidud, so they can't join us. Nurit is in a bidud, but she can join us. And thank you for the parents. And I would like to open up with a poem, a short poem, which I think reflects on what is happening in the Galilee Dreamers, also among the students and among the students, the parents, and the team. A door. A human being needs at least one door to open what he has closed, to enter in order to discover, to exit in order to search, to close in order to let go. A human being needs one door to hang a sign upon and call it by its name. A human being needs a door that he may knock on it with a soft hand to hear someone on the other side of it call out, "Come in." So I welcome you all to our Zoom session. Come in into our worlds. And Roberta, the stage is yours.
I want to say how important this meeting is to me. I think for about 6 years, we've been working with the Galilee Dreamers. The focus has been on the pupils, on the teachers, on the principals, on our amazing hosts, whether they're schools or families or synagogues abroad. And we keep hearing from the field requests by the parents to be involved. They say, and they're right, those are our kids. Let us be involved. And so this is an opportunity, I think, to really involve the parents and to hear what they have to say in an organized way. I do want to say that when I called, our idea was we'd have 3 parents from the Jewish sector, 3 parents from the Arab sector, and that would be good. 6 parents would be able to talk enough and explain enough and answer questions enough. But the problem was when I called parents to ask whether they would be involved, nobody said no. And in fact, a lot of people said, hey, how can I be in and you're not inviting Hassan? And how can so-and-so be in and you're not inviting so-and-so? So we now have 10 parents who are very eager to share their thoughts and to ask questions and to answer questions. So I think we should get started. I need to give a huge huge thank you to every single one of the parents who has agreed to be in this call. This is work time for them. A number of them, in fact, changed appointments that they had in order to join. A few of them are very nervous about their English, and a few just say, well, I have so much to say. How can you limit me in this time? So I need to thank all the parents again for making the time, for being willing to be limited, and for especially being willing to share their thoughts, their questions, their hopes with us. So according to our agenda, and we're going to try to stick to our agenda, I'm going to invite each parent to introduce him or herself and briefly respond to one of the questions that we put out there. They'll have time afterwards to respond to more questions, but for right now, we want to try to get answers to the 10 questions that we put together because we thought they would be important. I want to reassure everybody. We have Hassan. Is Hassan here?
Yes, I'm here.
Excellent. So you, if you agree, will be the translator from Arabic to English, maybe also from Hebrew to English, because your language skills are so great, and you're an English teacher and you volunteered. So if people would prefer to speak in Arabic, please translate them. And with Hebrew, we'll see how that goes, okay?
No problem.
Excellent, thank you so much. So the first parent who I would like to ask to speak is, so the first person, I think will be Dr. Khalid Awaidi. He is Layla's father. Layla is one of the most energetic, intelligent, motivated young women who I've met in a long time. And then when I met her dad, I sort of understood where it came from. So Layla was with us in the States in 2019, and her dad works in the health ministry, the Ministry of Health. He's also a college lecturer. So Dr. Awaidi, if you're willing to just briefly introduce yourself and answer one of the questions that I'm going to give you, I would really appreciate it. And I guess my question to you would be the first question. How did you feel when Layla came to you and told you about the program and asked or told you that she wanted to be involved? So please, briefly, who you are, what you do, and how you felt about Layla's involvement.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. It's so pleasure to meet all of you in this conversation. My name is Khalid Awaudi. What I tell you about me, that I am Khalid Awaudi, work in the Ministry of Health and in Health Research Department, and lecturer in academic Tel Aviv Yafo College. And about the first question that you asked me, but I want to speak about other things, if I can. I want to speak exactly about the impact of the program in my child, in Layla. And if you agree, I can start with that, Roberta, please.
Please, and then we'll take your question and give it to someone else. That's fine. Thank you.
Okay, what I want to tell that this program affected my daughter personality in many ways. It helped her approaching the people and making good friendship relationship with another societies, maybe here in Israel, exactly in the Galilee and in other parts of the world. This program played also a great role in increasing her social and political awareness. The program was a good chance for her to go to United States and to see a fantastic this program and to see other peoples in other lectures, and this program was a good chance for her in amateur and experiences things that might never experiences anywhere else. So what I feel, me and my wife, that this program was a good chance and affected a lot my daughter personality, making a good relationship, making a good friendship, and making a lot of relationships that I believe that's the way in impact and successful programs in our country, in Galilee exactly.
Thank you very much. That's great. Thank you so much. You'll have time to talk more, and people will be able to ask you questions later on. Now I want to go to the parents of Basel, who was a traveler in 2018, also to the United States. And he is one of the most lovely young men you could ever meet. He gives the best hugs in the world, and he suggested that both of his parents speak, because they're both school principals now. They're very engaged and involved in the educational system in Israel, and they don't have the exact same opinions, but they do have the same son who went on the trip. So Nizar and Manal, you don't both need to speak, but if you do want to, please take the opportunity to speak briefly, introduce yourselves, and let's go back to the question that Khaled didn't answer because he answered another one, but to share with us your feelings about how you felt when Basel came and said, whoa, I heard about this program. I actually heard about it from another graduate, Rima, who traveled 2 years beforehand. I want to be involved. What was your reaction?
השאלה מיועדת אליי ולמנal, כן?
Manal לא שם?
כן, לידי.
No, either one, either Manal or Nizar or both of you, please answer.
אוקיי,
And if you need help with translation, Hassan volunteered to translate.
בסדר. אני חושב, הרגשתי מאוד מאוד שמח כשבאסל התקבל לתוכנית הזאת, כי התוכנית הזאת היא תוכנית של דו-קיום בין שני העמים, בין העם הערבי לבין העם היהודי. ואני חושב, אני כמנהל בית ספר, שיזמתי הרבה מפגשים בין מג'ד אל-כרום לכרמיאל, והתוכנית הזאת היא החזון שלי, חזון של בית ספרי. אני בן אדם שוחר שלום, פציפיסט, שמאמין בדו-קיום בין הערבים ליהודים. על כן התוכנית הזאת היא מתאימה והיא מיישמת את החזון שלנו בכפר ואצל רוב הכפר, והיא מצמצמת את הפערים החברתיים ואת הדיסטנס בינינו לבין היהודים.
Thank you very much. That's great. Hassan, do you want to translate?
Yes, of course. Hi, how are you? Mr. Zarqawi says that as a school headmaster, his vision was to organize conversations and meetings between Jews and Arabs on the aim of coexistence in Israel. He believes in coexistence. He thinks that it's very good to live together, and he supports that. When he heard about it, the invitation of his son Basil to this conference, he was very pleased. He and his wife, they supported well, and that's what he does all along in his school, with cooperation between his school and other Jewish schools in Carmel and the surrounding area. That's in summary.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you very much, Hassan, and thank you, Nizar. Manal, do you want to add anything or talk?
כן, גם אני הרגשתי מאוד שמח, הרגשתי בסיפוק, כי זה לא רק את החזון שלנו בבתי הספר, גם בבית הספר שלי, גם זה חזון אישי. אנחנו בבית מאמינים בזה, בדו-קיום, מאמינים בבן אדם כבן אדם, מתייחסים לאדם כאדם. ואנחנו חיים במדינה דמוקרטית, יהודים וערבים ביחד. אז אנחנו צריכים כן להיות ביחד בכל מובן המילה, לא רק סתם. ואנחנו כן עושים את זה, אפילו יש לנו חברים מהמגזר שהם גם נמצאים כמו בני משפחה בבית. זה כאילו לא רק בפן הלימודי בבית הספר, גם במשפחתי, בבית עם המשפחה. ואני מארחים אותם, מטיילים ביחד, כמו משפחה אחת. זה החזון שלנו. אני מקווה שזה יתממש ויתרחב לכל העולם.
Thank you. Hassan, you're up.
Yes. Now, Manal also says that, by the way, she's also a school principal. Manal is also a school principal. And she says that even in the family frame, in the small family frame, they believe she, her husband, and her children, her sons and daughters and son, they believe in coexistence between Jews and Arabs in Israel. And she says that, she adds that they have many Jewish friends. They visit each other, they go on trips together, and they spend nights together. That is her vision, the same vision as her husband.
Okay, so those were three really important statements by parents of kids from the Arab schools, one from El Bishayr and two from El Bayan. So let's now go to some of the Jewish parents to hear their voices. And let's see, I guess we can start with Amir's mom. Amir is from the Misgav school, and he went in 2019 to South Africa. And Mirav, you're here with us?
I think I'll try to answer the question about how the program impacted Amir. Is that okay?
Sure, go for it.
Good. So my name is Merav. I'm Amir's mother. I think for Amir, it was the first experience of meeting Arab teenagers like him. We had a lot of talks at home, so it's also influenced us as a family. We had a lot of talks, conversations, and thought about his thoughts and feelings throughout the preparations to the trip. And I think seeing the differences of approach, the differences of culture, together with the similarities of the age, the uncertainties, the deliberations, was touching for him and for us. And the main impact that the program had on Amir was the motivation to show his friends that there is more in common between Jewish and Arab teenagers than differences. He invited Hamoudi after they came back. He invited Hamoudi and the other friends to sit with his friends in our village, which is something you don't see. And it's outside of a school program. It's just hanging out together. They went out to Carmiel, the biggest city near us, just to have coffee, just to have ice cream together, and really just to hang out, like teenagers can do, and they don't do, the Arab and Jewish ones here. And I think what worries me, or what makes me a little sad about this program, is that now with the Israeli reality, their ways are separated, and it will be difficult to maintain this relationship, and that's just something that we talk about and we think about.
Great.
Okay. I think yeah, that's it. That's what I have to say. And of course, just being very thankful for this opportunity that was given. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mirav. That was great. That was really important, I think. So let's stick with the Misgav Jewish School. And Yariv, if you're willing, as the dad of Amit, who was in Woodstock and Philadelphia last year, to talk about whatever you want. Choose a question or I'll field one for you. That's fine.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Well, yeah. Okay. So yes, I'm Amit's father, and I want to say that first of all that we both of us, me and my wife, were very proud that Amit participated in this beautiful program. And of course, there was no question about my from my point of view, that it's very important, and we encourage him to go for it. And I can tell you that this is something that even opened for him a door to participate. Maybe it's not closed in some other program with a Jewish agency. So for him, for if I'm looking for the personal side, this is something that developed him dramatically, and the experience and all the things that he was, experience during this trip was very important. And I think that for me, I didn't have a chance to think about the relationship between Arabs, Jewish, at the daily basis, and for me it gave me an opportunity to think in a let's say a deeper level, and sometimes always I told Roberta sometimes there was places that you could easily be frustrated because you are doing sometimes a lot of things and put a lot of energy, but you don't know exactly what is the impact, and it's looked like a drop in the ocean. But still, I believe that there is something that I told Roberta, and I want to repeat it here, is that no matter how many mistakes you make or how slow you progress, you're still way ahead of everyone who isn't trying. So this is, I think, maybe the message for me to all the people that take place or contribute to this program, that to continue in this effort. And I believe that this will bring the results, because there is no other option. We really believe in coexistence, and that's all. And I'm happy that Amit is part of it, and for him, it's dramatically changed.
Yofi. Thank you very, very much, Yariv. That was great. Really good. Let's have one more parent, if Aya's willing, also from the Mizgav School, to talk about whatever she wants from the questions, or I can ask a question about her daughter, Zohar, who also applied after participating in this program to do something before going into the army. She decided she'd like to volunteer, take one more year of her life and volunteer. So these are kids who really have a lot to offer, very motivated, and Zohar worked really hard, I think, to be able to stand up in front of a group abroad and give speeches, and she did it beautifully. So as her mom, let's hear what you have to say, Aya.
So originally the question I chose, I think like all of us, was the great impact that this joining the program had on Zohar's life. This project had and still has major impact on Zohar's life. Ironically, Zohar and Aden, which was her mate, her partner, had to go all the way across the ocean to get friends. And although they live like 200 meters from one another, and they are good friends. And the great insight, I think the most important insight that Zohar and Aden got from this program was like in Julia Roberts' movie. Have you seen like Pray, Love, Eat? She opens the movie with talking about people who were refugees and her friends, which helped there, and was surprised to discover that all they wanted to talk about was love and her boyfriend and her friend and what are people and about relationships. And I think this was the most important insight for both of them, that people are people, and teenagers are teenagers. And they have such a good relationship now, and they're such good friends. And I wanted to talk about the impact that this project had on my life, because Eden's mom is now my friend, and we visit each other in our houses. I'm a single mom, she's a single mom, and we become really good friends. And we both get lots of support from each other, and I learn a lot every time I get to see her. I learn so much. So this was about the great impact, but then I saw that on the table I was the 10th parent to speak, so I realized that maybe I have to answer the 10th question, which was Roberta, can you help me?
No, you don't. You don't.
I don't know, because I asked Zohar, and then she had something. What can be done to improve the program?
Okay, so hold that answer.
Okay.
After everybody has a chance to speak. I think that's a really important question. And you'll have a chance to address that. But let's make sure that everybody has a chance to say something and introduce themselves. Aya, you didn't say what you do professionally, if you want to.
I teach teacher training college, math education.
Great, thank you. Okay, so if Safa is here, Adan's mom, Zohar's really good friend is Adan, and Safa is Aya's really good friend. So if Safa's here, maybe she can speak a bit now. I know that she worked really hard to change her schedule at the hospital. She's a registered nurse who works day and night, especially in this situation. And when I first spoke to her, she didn't know if she'd be able to join. But if she's here, let's hear a bit from her, okay?
Shalom לכולם. רוברטה.
Ken, we hear you, we hear you.
היי, שלום לכולם, חג שמח לכולם ושנה שלום ובריאות. היי, איה, מה שלומך? אני לא יודעת אם אתם שומעים אותי?
Yes.
אוקיי, רוברט, קוראים לי שפה, ואני אימא של עדן, האימא הגאה של עדן בעצם. זה מעמד מאוד מרגש להיות כאן, ובאמת מאוד התרגשתי להיות כאן איתכם, וממש היה לי חשוב כאילו להיות איתכם ולהכיר את האנשים, את ההורים, מאחורי כל המעמד הזה. רוברטה, את רוצה לשאול אותי שאלה או משהו?
Okay, I guess what I'd like to hear, we've heard such positive things and everybody's in favor of the program, but I want to ask you if there were any people in your family or in the village or in the school or in the hospital where you work, if there are people who have expressed some doubts or concerns or opposition, hitnagdut, to this kind of program.
האמת שממש לא. אני, דווקא כל המשפחה שלי וכל החבר'ה שלי, גם בעבודה וגם בזה, היו מאוד גאים במצב הזה ומאוד התרגשו. זה היה לי מאוד חשוב גם העניין הזה של כן להיות כאילו, שעדן תהיה חלק מזה, כי זה פשוט נתן לעדן הרבה כאילו מבחינת האישיות שלה, מכל הבחינות, גם האישיות, גם זה שהיא כל הזמן אהבה להיות עם עוד אנשים, להכיר עוד תרבויות, עוד אנשים אחרים, אז דווקא כולם ממש תמכו.
That's great. Hassan, can you translate the first part of what Safa said, even though it was in Hebrew, your third language. People here are speaking in their second language or their third language. But Hassan, that would be great if you could translate that.
Yes, I can translate all what she said. As first she said, she's the mother of Adam. She works in a hospital in the Ministry of Health. She says that she was very proud with all this program, especially because, as she says, it supports her daughter, it supports her personality, and gives her self-confidence more than she has. And she says that her family, her husband, children, relatives, neighbors, and even colleagues at work supported her. She thinks that it's a very good status for her. It gives her a privilege to participate in such programs because she believes in coexistence between Jews and Arabs and good relations between nations and different people. That's in summing up.
That's great. Okay, thank you very much.
רק רוברטו, עוד משהו חשוב לי להגיד, שבאמת זה, כמו שאיה אמרה, זה כל כך השפיע עלינו ועל המשפחה. אנחנו גם זכינו להכיר גם את זוהר, גם להכיר את המשפחה שלה, את אחת מהאחיות שלה בעצם, כי הילד עדיין לא הספקנו להכיר, ולהכיר את איה, שזה באמת מראה שאנשים הם אנשים, כי זה לא משנה מאיפה אתה מגיע, יהודי, ערבי, מוסלמי, דרוזי, זה לא משנה מאיפה אתה מגיע. בסופו של דבר, כולנו בני אדם.
Hassan.
Yes. She sums up and says, no matter from what base you come, no matter what your origin is, no matter what your religion is, Muslim, Druze, Arabs, Jews, and so on, we are all people. We have to relate to people, to human beings as human beings. And she says that it gives her a good feeling, she and her daughter, to participate in this. But she believes in coexistence and good relations between people living near each other.
Great, thank you. Okay, we have three more parents. Two of them are the parents of Muhammad, who went this year to the States. And he's from El Bishayr School in Sakhnin. Muhammad's dad, who's an inspector in the Ministry of Education, Salah, is here. And his mom, Noha, who is an English teacher, is also here. So if you both want to speak, that's great. If only one of you wants to speak now and one a bit later, that's also fine. And choose your language. We have a great translator with us on board named Hassan, who does Hebrew to English, Arabic to Hebrew, Arabic to English. So don't worry about the language.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Here, yeah.
Okay. Actually, we are a family who believe in both tolerance and coexistence. And I would like to relate to question number 4, which is about talking about an event or a person that has an impact or influence about our beliefs. I would like to talk about my father. Well, my dear father is a survivor of al-Nakbi. He was born in a small, beautiful village in the Galilee called Mi'ar, now Ya'ad. It was evacuated in 1948. All the villagers were forced to leave, and to leave their homes in a hurry, and there was a great mess and fear. Now, my father was forgotten behind a 4-year-old child. While heading north, suddenly my grandmother, she remembered that her son is missing. He is not with her. He wasn't with her. So my grandfather decided to take a great risk to return, go back to the village, and he found his only son crying, frightened under a tree. Now my father grew up as a refugee in a nearby village, carrying a memory abandoned with pain and sorrow, a memory deeply engraved in his soul. Now, actually, he has all the reasons that might force a person to plant hostility in his, hostility and hatred, aggression in his children, within his children toward the other who uprooted him. But, however, we are so lucky, for my father chose the other path with the right end of inner peace and harmony. We think that had he headed the contrary path, we had been trapped in infinite loop or maze of hatred and violence. To forget, he couldn't, but he decided to forgive, to hope, to love. That was his way for healing and protecting his beloved from the trap of hatred. So it is a kind of his will that my father inherits for his family. Now, I feel lucky that I married a person, a man who also believes and calls for peace and coexistence. Together we plan to give our children good education based on good values and principles, respect, tolerance, and love. Now, also, I personally thought that I want to be involved to contribute to the process of enhancing coexistence and tolerance. So I wrote a book in Hebrew called إفشار قام أحيرت. In English, There is Another Way. Actually, it contains stories and poems for children. That is part of my personal contribution to the process of enhancing and promoting coexistence in our country. Now, I feel that this program is so meaningful. It made us so proud of our son. It made us discover a lot of things about our son, to know him better, and all the words, all the compliment that we've received from you as guides as friends for our son. All these words made us so happy, so proud of him. And we are sure now that our son is really a good one. Thank you.
That was beautiful, Nuha. Thank you so much.
That's beautiful.
Really beautiful. Salah, do you want to say anything after your wife's amazing words, or wait?
عرف طب لكلام شومعين אותי?
I didn't know that you are here.
I make a mute and
Surprise.
روبرتا رحيل איתנו?
Yes.
אתם תפסתם אותי שאני עושה ספורט. אני אחרי יום עבודה, תמיד אני עושה ספורט. אני חייב להגיד כמה משפטים על הפרויקט הזה. בתחילה אני אומר לכם באמת, חשוב לי מאוד שהפרויקט הזה ימשיך. כי אתם עושים עבודה נפלאה לחיים המשותפים במדינת ישראל. הילד שלי חזר ילד אחר. ילד שמאמין בחיים משותפים. מאמין באחר באשר הוא. לא משנה גזע, דת ומין. הוא מאמין שהוא צריך לשנות את העולם. שני פרויקטים, פרויקט אחד של זרעים של שלום בכיתה ט' והפרויקט שלכם חולמי הגליל בכיתה י"א, שהוא לא עשה את המבחן בגרות של הבגרות והעדיף ללכת לפרויקט שלכם חולמי הגליל. העניין אשר מאתגר אותי כאבא להמשיך בדרך, לחנך לערכים ישראלים וערבים, שיגדל בסביבה תומכת, שלעזור לו שיחיה וגם יגדל בסביבה תומכת. אורנים ורחל ורוברטה, אני אומר לכם באמת, הילד חזר גרסה משופרת מאין כמוה. הצלחתם להנחיל ערכים אוניברסליים וישראליים וחיזוק הישראליות של הבן שלי. אני גאה בכם, גאה בעשייה שלכם, גאה במה שאתם. תמשיכו להיות ככה, ואני כמפקח במשרד החינוך I'm an inspector with Ministry of Education in Israel. אני אומר לכם, תמשיכו לפעול ולקדם ולהוביל את הפרויקטים האלה שהם העתיד של ילדינו והעתיד של המדינה שלנו, שאין לנו מדינה אחרת בעולם. מדינה שהיום היא חותרת לשלום עם כל מדינות ערב. אני מאחל למדינת ישראל וארצות הברית שימשיכו להוביל אותנו לפרויקטים מיוחדים ולשלום המיוחל עם מדינות ערב עד שנהיה במזרח תיכון חדש. כולי תקווה שהפרויקטים האלה ימשיכו, ואני פונה לאחראים בארצות הברית שתמשיכו לתמוך באורנים, תמשיכו לתמוך ברחל ורוברטה, שימשיכו לקדם את הפרויקטים במדינת ישראל. עלו והצליחו, מאחל לכם המון הצלחה, מקרדיון, איפה שאני עושה ספורט, אני מגלה עכשיו את הבנים שלי.
That's great. So Salah, before Hassan has a chance to translate that, I just want to say it's a deal. We'll continue on the promise that you keep sending your son to be part of this. He was amazing, quiet, smart, dedicated, just a real jewel to have in the program. So it's a deal. We'll continue and you continue, and make sure that Hamoudi Mohammed also continues. Hassan, can you give a brief translation of that, and then we're going to open it up.
Yes, of course. Despite the fact that I missed some of his sentences because his voice was not so fluent and was not so clear. But as a summary, he said that he's an instructor in the Ministry of Education in Israel. It means that he's completely involved in the education in Israel and tradition here. He's after a long work day and he's making sport. This means that he keeps his health very well. He says that he supports such programs as much as he can, and he will do his best in the frame of the ministries where he works to support Oranim, to support you and all your friends who work on this program. He says that this program helps a lot in the existence between Jews and Arabs in Israel, and in tolerance and keeping good relations between us, especially because we live in a state that we have no other state to live with, to live in. He said the state of Israel that goes on its way for peace settlements and peace treatments with the surrounding Arab states. Summing up, he supports very well with all his power, all the power that he has, and all the clues that he has to upgrade such programs.
Great, Hassan, thanks. You're now invited to take off your hat as translator if you want to put on the hat of being Noor's father and talk briefly about Noor, the wonderful, wonderful young woman who we had the privilege of traveling with a few years ago too.
Well, thank you. I may exceed a little bit beyond the 1 minute dedicated to me, but no problem. Give me the chance. I am Hassan Asadi. I am a retired English language teacher from the Ministry of Education. And nowadays I have a tourism agency named Mario Tours in 2 branches, one in Majd al-Krum and one in Hatzor in the Golan Heights. I am the father of Noor. Noor now is a 2nd-year student of the civil engineering in Ot Braude in Carmiel. She's brilliant and she loves what she studies very well. I wanted to relate to some of the questions. I don't know the numbers of the questions. The first one is the impact of the program on me and on my wife and my family, and especially on Noor. If there's any concept in English that describes the meaning of beyond the proud, beyond, we were very proud of the program. We accepted it very well. We were very pleased, all of our family. for some reasons. The first one is that Noor will have the opportunity to participate in a program which has relations between people from other nations and other sectors, especially in the USA. She will participate in English. She will travel abroad and meet other people from other nations. The impact was too positive. But there was one little note from my daughter. She says that when we go to the USA, and we speak to people there, they relate to us as Arabs, Palestinian Arabs, let's say. I think there's little problem with differentiating between the Palestinian Arabs and the Israeli Arabs. We are Israeli Arabs. We are not Palestinian Arabs, despite the fact that the Palestinian Arabs are to a certain extent, relatives to us, but we live in Israel and we belong to Israel. We have the Israeli identity. We are Israelis in nationality, and so on. We live here, and we will continue to live here with the Jews together. We believe in coexistence, but there's a little difference between living together and living near each other. We have to deal with the concept of living together deeply, and in order to make that, it's not enough that we go to USA and meet other people, no matter if they are Jews or Americans or Mexicans, no problem. The second half time is that they have to come here. They have to come to Israel. We are ready to accept them in our houses. We want them to live in our life, to see our life, to feel our life, also to feel the life of the Jews here in Israel. If they come to Israel and if we accept them here, it will support the program much better. Because as you know, as one of my colleagues said, I don't remember his name, maybe the father of Amir, if I remember well, no problem that we make mistakes. It's not the case. The case is that we have to study from our mistakes, because mistakes bring success. Mistakes bring success. So, I don't say that we made mistakes, but there were some lacks here and there. The measure of which is that the people that our children met in USA, they have to be our guests in Israel here. That will be. And thank
Hassan,
you.
thank you. I'm going to cut you off because I want to give a chance to pick up on some of what you said, and for people from the States also to ask questions. We're not going to ask direct questions of the parents. Now we'll let the people on the state side do that. But I think we have to take seriously your invitation. That's a great place to give the ball to the Americans. Hassan's invited you all to come and visit in his house, in his village, in his businesses. Is that true, Hassan?
Exactly.
And we know
I am very serious. I'm very serious.
I know that. Okay, so please, Desmond or anybody else from the state side, please feel free to address a question specifically to someone who spoke, or just to throw out a question and let anyone pick it up. We don't have a lot of time. We really only have about 5 minutes if my clock is right, but I think every word that was said was important. And what was also important was that some issues that seemed to be in need of more discussion and more working out, and maybe figuring out how we agree or disagree, issues of identity, issues of connection, what we should do. Those are all great topics that I think, as the committed parents that you are, will be able to continue discussing. Please, does anybody have a specific question for anyone specifically or for the group?
אני רוצה לשאול מה עולה בגורלו של הפרויקט, איך מתקדמים, איך ממשיכים, האם הילדים שלנו יכולים גם להמשיך בעתיד להיות מנטורים, מדריכים, שינחילו מה שלמדו ומה שקיבלו יעבירו לאחר.
Okay, so that question was, what's going to happen now with the project? Our kids who are grads, alumni of the program, can easily be mentors. We want them to be. What's happening? And I think that actually is a question to some extent directed to Muli, Dr. Muli Peleg, the head of the International School at Oranim, and also to our American friends, Paul Schneider and Desmond Kaplan, and the hosts in the schools on the American side. So anyone who wants to pick that up, please do so.
Well, I agree that the aftermath, I mean, being on a trip, it's magical, absolutely, for everybody involved. But the biggest challenge is the aftermath, the continuation of the momentum of the alumni to maintain and develop further their relationships, because we are not operating in a vacuum. As we know, this country is a tumultuous country with ups and downs. We have recurring tensions between Jews and Arabs here, sometimes definitely not because of their fault, but because other circumstances around us. And this is a big test, and I think that we should continue and really seek activities on a higher frequency, and try to wreck our brains and be creative about new directions and new horizons to create a real collaboration that will stand the tests of the circumstances around us. This is where we have to really put our efforts from now on.
Thank you. Thank you, Muli.
I have
Anybody else want to respond to that?
I have a comment. My name is Michelle, and I met Rabbi Paul Schneider years ago, and he introduced me to the program, and I think it's absolutely excellent. And I go out of my way to tell other people about it. And I came in from a different background, and I'm glad to host people here when people come.
Thank you. Comments, questions from the stateside, from the Galilee, from Oranim? Feel free, everybody.
Roberta,
yeah.
may I just really quickly tag the ditto? This program, discovering this program, has fulfilled a 50 years ago dream. Years ago when I was 18 and first visited, and I kept reaching out to meet non-Jewish Israeli citizens. I met a Christian Arab, but it's still yearn for a closer relation, and I'm volunteering and requesting that someone, hands across the water, link up with me, but also that the American, if there's any American, I'm in Albany, New York. I've been in conversation with Des, but I would really very much like to partner up, just talk about and join with other Americans who are trying to support this effort. It really totally, inspired and reformed my attitude, not my attitude, but my belief and hope that there's more that we can do. I want to do more. That's all. Joan Goodman, somebody call me. Roberta or Des.
Thank you, Joan. Thank you very much, Joan. That was great.
It's Rita from Baltimore. I just echo Michelle's thoughts and Joan's, and I want to say shukran and toda rabba l'chol echad. Ani kol kach nehaneti. I just love this program. I'm so thrilled that the parents were able to speak. It really was an eye-opener, in addition to having heard the students and the administrators. I've met the families. We brought them to our school when it first started, Mahmoud Asadi, and I've been to the village. And I just hope we can grow it, because it's really, really wonderful. And maybe even partner with some other kinds of programs that exist. I know there's something like Hand in Hand and other kinds of programs that might give some thoughts to this. So, Toda Rabba and Shana Tova, healthy, happy New Year for everyone.
טוב, שנה טובה ומתוקה לכולם, נאחל לנו, לכולנו, שנה אושר, עושר, שגשוג וחיים משותפים. תודה לכולם.
Amen. טוב, רחל, wrap it up.
נפלאה.
Dear friends and parents of the Galilee Dreamers, I'm just overwhelmed. And I want to thank you all for this empowering gathering that highlights the vision of the Galilee Dreamers as touching the hearts and having such a tremendous impact on the students, their families, their teachers, and communities. I would like to thank Dr. Roberta Bell-Klinger, who is a dear friend and mostly a human being, who is one of our dearest founders of the project, for her elegant, sensitive, and wise mediation of the discussion. We just love you so much, Roberta. It was overwhelming to hear all the parents speak. Meeting your kids and going with them through processes which were very complex when being abroad and in Israel. Dear parents, I have no words. It's just was so overwhelming to hear you speaking about your kids and their experience and about your experience as well and your vision for peace in the Middle East. Meeting your kids and going with them through processes which were very deep and very complex when being abroad was overwhelming for me, for myself, and has taught me so much about you, your families, and also about myself. You have such wonderful kids whom we predict will be the leaders of the new shared society in the Galilee. Your kids highlight the essential role that youngsters have in creating Israel as a state for all its people, with tolerance towards others, views, religion, opinion, diverse identities, and other characteristics. You have raised your children well with a system of values that you can be proud of. This will make them leaders of the future. I want to end this gathering with a poem by Edith Barak, which I love very much. A child gazed to the right, and then he gazed to the left. When the road was vacant, he crossed. If he had looked at his back, he would have seen that from the moment he was born, my eyes were on his distancing back. I think that this is what parenting is. And again, I have no words. It has been such an overwhelming hour filled with love and compassion. I thank you all and Shana Tova.
Shana Tova, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. مع السلامة. Bye.
سلامة مع السلامة.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Wonderful to hear all of your stories.
Bye.
Great.
תודה רבה לכם.
Bye bye.
שנה טובה.
שנה טובה.
תודה רוברטה.
שוכרן.
מקסימה רוברטה.
רוברטה, אתם מוזמנים מוזמנים.
אני אצלכם. טוב. תודה רבה.
ביי, שנה טובה.
שנה טובה.
תודה רבה.